Okay, you didn't ask for it, but here it is. Orko and Shadow Weaver in the same episode. This is Shades of Orko. So this episode starts with Shadow Weaver sending her shadow beasties to terrorize a local village. And no, I didn't read that incorrectly, they are actually called shadow beasties. And I'm sorry I have to go on a tangent about this because we're technically still in the obligatory story synopsis mode, but seriously, shadow beasties? I know shadow beasts are an actual creature in the He-Man lore, but were they really so overly concerned with having two monsters with the same name that they had to call them beasties? Then again, considering it was the post-season 1 Christmas special that gave us the Beast monster, I should maybe lower my expectations for creature names on this show. So, back to the story. Why is she attacking the village? I have no clue. Just being generally villainous, I guess. Luckily, as the heroes find out, Duncan and Orko decide to pay a visit to drop off some force shields.
Well, you couldn't have come at a better time.
Yeah, it's almost like a scriptwriter planned this or something. Well, Shira and company stop the beastie attack with the force shields, and wait a minute. These are the force shields? These frickin' little useless hand ornaments? Are you shitting me? Well, good thing the shadow beasties don't know how to aim low. Otherwise the heroes would be in trouble. So the attack is curtailed and Shadow Weaver becomes royally pissed and decides she's gonna take her revenge on Orko, who literally did absolutely nothing during the whole attack. Well, okay, he scared some of the beasties off, but really? And also, I know this is kind of a momentous occasion, seeing Orko and Weaver in the same shot together, but I can't not point out Orko's line of sight here. Here's a freeze frame and... there we go. So Shadow Weaver steals Orko's shadow, and as a result, his magic powers. Is that how that works? Weaver then takes the shadow to Horror Hall, where it actually escapes, and the villains spend the rest of the episode hunting it down. Horror Hall apparently isn't on Etheria, though, but luckily Shira's sword can open a portal there, because of course it can. Well, at least Shira has to quickly phone Light Hope so she can find this out. So luckily Shira and company happen on Orko's shadow as it's about to get captured. The guys decide to both just get frozen by Mantenna. Great job. But luckily Shira takes down the Henchmen with what I like to call the totem pole defense. And finally, Orko shows that turnabout is fair game and makes Shadow Weaver's shadow run off. Okay, this episode isn't anything too special, though I think it's kinda cute how for once it's just Duncan and Orko getting a cameo without either He-Man or Skeletor in the mix. But I find it a bit questionable that they just dragged Duncan along with the force shield business as if Orko couldn't have come along by himself. I mean, the episode is called Shades of Orko, not Shades of Duncan. This episode also uses a rather time-honored cartoon trope, which is the plotline of someone stealing another character's shadow. Now, I've always found this plot setup to be kind of odd, because a shadow isn't something that you would horribly miss. Now, if Orko had lost his legs, okay, bad example. The point is, losing someone's shadow is kind of a nebulous idea, and I'm not fully sure what the stakes are other than Orko not being able to use magic. Orko's lost his magic powers in quite a few episodes, but in this instance he also starts to feel weak, which definitely would indicate that this time it's kinda serious. But they never really explain it, properly at least. I do think it's funny how Orko's shadow is apparently sentient and leads the henchmen on a chase, but they don't really do a whole lot with it. However, I would still consider this a pretty worthwhile episode since it features pretty much the most goofiest Horde villains. Probably one of my favorite funny moments happens at the very start of the episode, when Grizzlor is brown-nosing the Shadow Weaver about her plot. Look at Ratlor's reaction.
I'd love to see the looks on those rebels' faces when Shadow Weaver's little beasties attack again so soon.
He just does not give a fuck, does he? Also, when Shadow Weaver is stealing Orko's shadow, the little Trollin decides this would be the time to quote Clint Eastwood.
Oh, come on, Shadow Weaver. Make my day.
But I'd be doing this episode a disservice if I didn't mention Dial-A-Mug. The single most frightening Horde henchman ever. Just goddamn, what even is this thing? I mean, I'm a grown-ass man, and even I think this fucking thing is absolutely terrifying. I think my favorite thing about him, though, is that despite what utter nightmare fodder he is, he has probably the most benign voice of all the Horsemen.
A giant flower? Ugh, that's disgusting. Maybe we better get Mantenna and the others to help us find that shadow. I'm stuck.
That's literally just Bo. So Shades of Orko is a fun episode, full of silliness and memorable moments, and of course, like most of my favorite episodes, lots of sassy hips Shadow Weaver. Until next time, I have the power, so can you.